All right, there's a few of you on. We'll go ahead and get started. Well, like I said, good afternoon. My name is Michele Meyer, and I am the Retail Marketing Manager for FMC Ag Solutions, which is a chemical company that is actually United States based. We are out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and we are we specialize in a lot of soybean residuals, as well as corn, and pest management practices, and work with a lot of retailers, both in Illinois and in Missouri, actually all across the country, but I myself work in Illinois and Missouri. And then I own and operate with my husband Meyer Cattle Company in Northeast Missouri, where we raise registered Angus cattle. We market those bulls to both purebred and commercial producers. And we have our own bull sale every fall and in the spring. We also market an elite group of females as well in that. So very involved in agriculture, both from an agronomic perspective as well as a beef cattle livestock perspective. And prior to that, worked for Monsanto for 8 years, where I sold Asgrow and DeKalb seed. And even before that, taught high school ag for 10 years. So have a very diverse background as far as my agriculture involvement. I have a daughter who is 16 and is also an FFA here in Missouri, and a little boy who is 10 months. So and as a family, we are immersed in agriculture. So excited to be here with you guys today, and happy to entertain any kind of questions that you have. I see some of you are watching, and if you have some questions, would love to entertain them and just give me a chat there in the text box, and we'll go from there. Okay, first question: what is your favorite part of your job? You know, the fact that I'm involved in a lot of different circles in agriculture makes every day different. And that is the one thing, even if I just worked for Meyer Cattle, or even if I just worked for FMC, the fact that I am in agriculture and the things that I get to do within both of those positions is, it's never the same day twice. So it's not like you get bored. You don't get up and go into the office and think you're going to do the exact same thing every single day. From an FMC perspective, I'm in sales. So every day I am out interacting with my retailers who are selling our products. And like today, this morning, I was spent walking fields with my retailer and customers, looking at the weed pressure that we were facing, and maybe why one chemical works better than another, and maybe why an application process didn't happen and kill the weeds that we were wanting to do. So every day is different, and that's the best part. Same thing with Meyer Cattle. It's a situation where, you know, every day is different as far as you go out, and one day you may be just checking cows, and next day, you know, we get 3 inches of rain, and it rains and you got to fix fence or what have you. From a breeding perspective, there's all these different things that you're doing, so no 2 days is ever the same. And a next question is, what is the most challenging part? Probably the juggle, because, you know, when you have so many different pieces to make your day go round, you have to be very, very organized to make it all work. And that's the thing. I'm a firm believer you don't want to put too much on your plate that you can't handle, but what you put on your plate, you need to be able to juggle that. And so that's always the challenge, in my opinion, is because you have all those different responsibilities, and where do you dedicate the time each day and really start with an organized plan and to balance it all and still have time for your family. Next question: what are some things that you did in high school and college that helped prepare you for your career? One thing is just being active and taking on some leadership roles. I think that's very important, and that's something that I'm encouraging my own daughter to do now as she's getting ready to start her junior year in high school, is to become active in those organizations and learn your time management skills now, learn how to how to converse back and forth in a professional manner. If you can do all those things now, then it's going to set yourself up for success later. So when you hit college, you too can become involved and then take on more leadership roles there, and you start to already know your limits. You know how to study by that point. You know how to you have a routine down that you're going to place everything on your to-do list, where you can really learn how to prioritize. The earlier you can do that in high school and fine-tune that and make those mistakes in high school, because let's be real, guys, everyone makes mistakes and there's always a learning curve. So do those things as early as possible so you learn and can then put yourself up and set yourself up for success later in life. Let's see. Oh, hi, Mindy. I miss you. We need to visit. It's great to see you or hear from you. What skills or training do you think are important to have in your career? I think that no matter what career you're looking for, a couple of things come to my mind that honestly Monsanto kind of really illustrated that to me. And when I look back, I think on that and they were absolutely dead on. A couple of those is candor. And that's one that I don't think I really appreciated until I got a little bit older. And what I mean by candor is just say it to me straight. So no matter what situation you're in, whether it's a personal or a group setting, just be very honest and straightforward and learn how to illustrate your point to someone in a very professional manner, but don't beat around the bush. Don't try to be somebody you're not. Don't try to say something that you really don't believe just because you think that's what that other person wants to hear. Be very honest and trustworthy in what you're saying and just say it like it is. Another one is to be agile. As an RMM for FMC and when I worked for Monsanto, and especially even in our own business here selling bulls and females to producers, people want to know that when you tell them something that is exactly what they're getting. And so that's essential. And and in life things happen. One of my when I was teaching, one of my student teachers always told me, Michelle, the best lesson plans are the best things that you can ever have. However, when the sow has pigs, you deal with the sow having pigs. And at that point in time I was like, I had to really think on it. But now later in life, it's like, sometimes things happen and you have to adapt and you have to overcome. So you can have the best plan in the world, but sometimes it just isn't going to happen that way. And so you have to adapt, be agile, and make lemons out of lemonade, as so many of you have heard, and really just move forward from that. I think that is something that when I was younger, I had a very hard time with because I was a planner. Things needed to happen at a certain time, and when we got off schedule, it really bothered me, and I felt out of place. But now as I've gotten older and being in these situations that I'm in now where not everyone is, not everything happens the way you want it to. And so the ability to adapt and overcome is essential. So let's see, what does a typical day look like for me? So a call coming in, I'm sorry about that. A typical day for me would be, well, like we said, no 2 days are the same. So always my day starts with my planner. So in the very early morning with my coffee, I like to do my little devotional in the morning just to kind of get my mind set for the day. And then once I have that complete, I have my coffee and my pen and my planner and I go to town. I start that on a Sunday, and that Sunday planning for me is very, very important. I make a master list of all of my things that have to be done, and then I translate that to the rest of my week and pencil that in where I don't already have set appointments. So the fact that no 2 days are the same, my typical day doesn't always go the same, but it always starts the same. And that is my planner. What do I have to get done for the day? How am I going to organize that? Who do I need to call to help me make sure that happens? And are my kids taken care of? So those are the biggest things. So once I have that to-do list set out, then I am good to go. If that's some office time in the morning, I try to get everything knocked out on that to-do list that I can first and foremost, because early mornings I know not everyone is going to be a morning person, and you may disagree with me, and that's okay. But for me, the early mornings is the best time to get some of those little things knocked off my list. Whether it's emailing some retailers about a program that's happening, whatever the case may be, if I can get that done and off my list first thing, I'm not going to get interrupted. And so that is essential for me. The other piece of it is I always try to use my drive time because I am a marketing rep, so I am on the road a lot. I like to use my drive time to make the phone calls that I can, always hands-free, of course, and just get all of those things out of the way to help set me up for the rest of the day and for the rest of the week. Always too, on my drive time, something that I like to do is use that time for a little bit of professional development. And so I'm a big podcaster or an audiobook. So that's also a time when I can use that time wisely, since I am spending so much time on the road. So I know that that's not a great answer for a typical day, because no 2 days are the same. They don't always look the same, but they always begin the same. And I think that that is very, very important. And the other side of that is, it's funny how a routine is for people, whatever your routine is. But for me, if my day gets thrown off, if my son happens to get up a little early, if that day gets thrown off, I just feel like my day is thrown off, because I haven't been able to give that time to my to-do list and to really get my head in the right spot to move forward for the rest of the day. Next question, where do you see growth or opportunity in the agriculture industry? Well, I think right now and the next question is, how has COVID-19 affected your job? Okay, we'll hit both of these at the same time. Growth in the ag industry. I think since COVID-19 has hit, I think, we always struggle with getting people to know where their food comes from. Interesting story about this is, one of my coworkers lives in Columbia, Missouri. So if those of you know, that's where Mizzou is. And so a lot of college kids that are still in town, whether, doing different things to get their everything sewn up. And my coworker was in Schnucks at the grocery store, and he was shopping, and he texts me, he says, I'm not sure where we went wrong, because I just overheard a girl say, I'm not going to buy any meat. I'm just going to go for the chicken. It's funny, but because of COVID-19, we have seen a little bit more of an uptake or a tick in people really learning where their food comes from. Again, not everybody. This girl must have missed the message, but that's America, and that's a lot of our people. So there's always room for opportunity and growth in the ag industry, because we are feeding the world. From ag retail perspective, from an FMC perspective, I think that we are always seeking high quality candidates and high quality people that are going to move the needle. I was on a team call on Friday, and we were being asked at that point, like, hey, we're not maybe hiring right now, but we are actively seeking good candidates, and that's people who want to work. So if you are someone who is driven and who is self-motivated and is ready to work, I think there's always going to be a place for you in ag. From a COVID-19 perspective, COVID-19 has affected it a lot. A lot of my job right now is like this. Not necessarily a Facebook Live, but a lot of Zoom meetings and a lot of over the phone. And it's posed an issue, because gone for the last month and a half were the days that I simply dropped by a retail location and I walked in and I asked them and talked to them about our products. That just wasn't happening because it couldn't. So I had to, myself and my coworkers, we all had to find a way to be innovative and different. And how are we going to get in front of our retailers and still sell, right? So one thing that one of my coworkers and I have done is because he and I live very close together, we 1 day a week, we get in the truck together and we go scout fields at either one of his retailers or one of mine, and we look at some of our products that are actually that have been applied on the field and that they're working. And we just make a video and then we send it out so we can show the different products in action. Since we can't get in front of them like we always have, this is a great way for us to still get our message across, and it's different than just sending an email or picking up the phone and not having 100% of their attention. Any podcast or audiobook suggestions? You know, I love professional development. There are a lot of, let's see, Damian Mason has a great one, and he actually has two, Do Business Better podcast and The Business of Agriculture. Couldn't think of his that one, but I absolutely love The Business of Agriculture because it is real life. It is what is happening right now, today, and how it's applicable. And that's one, he does them like I don't know if they're every day, but it's like at least one or two a week that he does. And they're short, they're usually 30 minutes, but it's very applicable to what's going on. So if you want to hear about how COVID-19 is affecting the beef industry right now and the meat shortage that we're all facing, or not meat shortage that we're facing, but the issues that's going on with the packers right now as a result of COVID-19, please let me rephrase that because we do not have a meat shortage. But it's all real and it's to the point and it's very, very, very candid. And I love that about it. So definitely check out the Business of Agriculture podcast for real life stuff. So those of you that are getting ready to interview for a state office or chapter office or area offices, regional offices, however you all do it in Illinois, that is a great place to go get some current events about what's going on and some different perspectives that are out there for what's going on in agriculture. Any last questions from any of you? If not, I have one last takeaway if there's no other ones. And I've watched a few of these Facebook Lives that some of my predecessors have done before me. And what's one thing that they've all answered the question of, what's your biggest piece of life advice? And I basically have two, and it's the two things that I live by. And I really kind of had to think about this a little bit for the one piece of it, because it's one that I never really talk about, but I just find myself doing, and I find myself telling my daughter, like, dang it, Lexi, and that is this: begin with the end in mind. Now, that's not innovative. It's not my idea. It's the Stephen Covey habits of successful people, of highly effective people, but it is so true. Begin with the end in mind. No matter what it is that you're doing, if it's a project that you're working on, a job that you want to seek, whatever the case may be, no matter what it is, no matter if it's some big, huge goal or something small, know where you want to be when it's over. Know how you want to feel when it's over. Just really think about that and then work backwards. Then make your to-do list and set your steps up for success, because that is the key to really feeling fulfilled and really feel like you've really accomplished something when you really have. I think that is absolutely huge. Begin with the end in mind. And the other one is my tagline that's on every email that I send, and that is this: opportunity is missed because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. You can never underestimate the opportunity that you get and that you learn from by getting your hands a little dirty. Sometimes you just got to go head first, dive into something, and then you will totally reap those benefits. There's a lot that we could talk about with those, but those are the biggest two pieces of life advice I could give you. They're very simple. They're not some big innovative thing that I've come up with, but they're the two things that I've kept with me in my heart as I've went through my journey, and it's something that I'm trying to instill into my kids. So I encourage you all to take those two and apply it in your life, and I know that you'll find yourself just finding yourself that much more successful. So thank you all for your time. Thank you for the invitation. And if you need to reach out to me by any means, you can find me on Facebook at Michele Meyer, and it's Michele with one L and Meyer. You can find our farm name, Meyer Cattle Company, on Facebook, and we would love to visit with you if we can help you in any way. Thank you all so much. Have a great day and good luck on your own journeys.